As you know, the whole universe is made of one energy. I'm sure you guys are already familiar with it, but I just want to repeat it. The whole universe is made of one energy, and and everything in it, whether it is plants, animals, us, solid rock, mountains, everything is made of that one energy. So the energy, if any, nothing but the energy exists, and everything is manifesting out of that energy. Whatever the material form that you see, in whatever way, whether it's, as I said, in some living beings or non-living things, everything is made of that one energy only. And if everything is energy, energy, is vibrations, and vibrations create the energy, and energy creates the matter. So energy is manifesting in the form of the matter. So we are also made of that same energy, and so is the non-living things that you see in the universe. Now, you would say that how is that, if everything is made of one energy, why is it so different from each other? So the answer would be that everything, as you know, energy means vibrations, and vibration means that there is a frequency. So everything is vibrating at a different frequency. Lower the frequency, solid the matter is. Higher the frequency, more airy the matter is. So for example, lighter the matter is. So even the air is made of that energy, and so is the earth or the rock. So the vibrations in the air are higher, and it's even higher than our eyelids vibration. So that's why we are not able to see it, but it still exists because we do feel it. And similarly, the vibrations in the rock would be very low. So everything has manifested out of that one energy. Now, if there is an energy, that means there is a constant interaction and a transaction of the energy happening between everything that is in the universe. So basically, if you look at it, if we dissolve all the material aspects, then nothing but the energy is left. So everything is made of that energy. Now we are also a part and parcel of the same energy, and God is also the word. God is also the word that means that gives you the functions of that describes the functions of the energy. Now the functions of G would be generation, the energy that generates everything in this universe. So we do say that God has created everything. He's the generator of everything, gives birth to everything. And O is the organization in an orderly manner. So that energy is making sure that whatever has been generated is functioning in an orderly manner, in an organized manner. Everything is automatically happening. So even within us also, as a human beings also, even though we are in control, but still a lot of things in our own body itself are happening automatically. You eat the food and it gets digested automatically. You're not doing the digestion yourself. So all this is done by the energy. And then again, the D part is the destruction, destroying whatever is not needed. So whatever is not needed, like in our own aspect, the food that we are eating, whatever is taken in as a bloods and bones, the rest comes out as a waste. So that is destruction of the whatever is not needed. So this is how the whole universe itself is moving in a cyclical motion, and everything is in a cycle of generation, organization, and maintenance, sustenance, and destruction. So this is the way the universe has been built. Now we are also a part and parcel of the same energy, as I said. So we are the energy beings. So we are not the body and the mind that we think we are. We are the energy beings. We are you could say, the soul, the spirit. You can call any name, consciousness. A lot of names have been given. You can use the names, doesn't matter. The understanding of the concept is important. So the main thing is that we understand that we are a part. That is why we say that we are the children of God. Children of God mean whatever the God is made of, that's what we are made of also. So if that God being the energy, we are also the energy. only we have 5 bodies that we use in this universe to have this humanly experience. So what are those 5 bodies that we are using? First body being the physical body that we all see. It's made of food and water. So more food we eat, bigger the body becomes. So it's also known as Annamaya Kosh in our scriptures, but it is made of food. So physical body. Second body is the breath body or the breathing, and it's also known as emotional body. And as we know, we all are breathing, and the emotions are connected to our breath. That is why when you do your breathing exercises, you must have seen that any kind of a if you are having if you are angry or if you are upset or any kind of a negative emotion, if you are feeling, by just doing the breathing exercises, you can change your emotion. You can change the way you are thinking and change the way you are feeling. So emotions are connected to the breath. So it's also known as the emotional body. Pranamaya Kosh, it's known as Pranamaya Kosh. It's the breath, or the prana is the word we use for the breath, life force energy. And then third is the mind, mental body. So mental body, mind, we all know mind is, we all have mind and we all use it, and the job of the mind is to think. So that is what it is doing constantly, continuously. It is thinking thoughts. That is what the thoughts, one thought after the other. That is its job, its nature. So that's what it does, and that's what it's always going to do, unless we help to quieten it down. And then fourth body is the intellect body, जिसको बुद्धि भी कहते हैं. So the third one is also called as Manomay Kosh. Then the fourth one is called Vigyanmay Kosh, or Buddhi we say. Now, the intellect body is the body which helps to give information to the mind. This is where it's also known as, it's a part of the mind actually. It's also known as subconscious mind. And subconscious mind being where all the memories, your fears, phobias, your past experiences, everything is stored in there. What you exactly are as a person is because of whatever is stored in your subconscious mind or in your intellect body. And all the information is given from the subconscious mind or from the intellect body to the conscious mind. So it helps to decide, it helps the mind to make a decision of what to do or what not to do, what to choose, what not to choose. So the mind, conscious mind, is constantly thinking one thought of the other, but the subconscious mind or the intellect body helps to control the mind and gives it direction to choose and create the action or the thought. So that is the intellect body, which is also known as Vigyanmay Kosh. And then the fifth body is your spiritual body, or it's also known as Anandmay Kosh. So the word itself describes, the Anand means bliss, peace, love, happiness. So this is one of our bodies. It could be a body. Now this is where our soul is connected. Our soul is connected on the basis of from the Anandmay Kosh. Just a second, sorry. So our soul is connected to the Anandmay Kosh, or the blissful body. So you could say that is why in that body it's also known as voice of a consciousness, where all the right you will get the information about your you're always directed in the right manner if you will learn to listen to your voice of consciousness. That is the voice of your own soul, your own spirit, directing you in the right direction. And it's a bliss body, so it is non-physical. It is not physical at all, but you can feel it. You can feel the bliss and the happiness and the joy and the love and the peace. Now let's talk about the peace itself. What is peace? Peace, as we were just saying, is a feeling. It is an emotion. It is a feeling that you feel, the feeling of calmness, the feeling of non-turmoil, tranquility. So pleasantness basically. Now, if you understand the peace, meaning that pleasantness, this is what the peace would be described as. Now, all the 5 bodies, when they are in a pleasant state, now what are we seeking in this world? In the whole world, we are always seeking pleasantness, happiness, love, peace, joy. This is what we are seeking. Now, if the physical body becomes very pleasant, what happens? That means you will be in a good health. Means good health, right? Pleasure. That is what the pleasantness of the physical body would be. Now, if you say the pleasantness in the mental body would be peace and joy. So, where do you feel the peace? You feel in your mind. So, in the mental body, if you see the pleasantness of the mind would be, you can say it is at peace. And if the peace becomes, it becomes too much more pleasant, then it becomes joyful. The mind becomes joyful. And then the second body, the emotional body, when we say that, the emotional body, if it is very pleasant, then that means it is love. When you are very pleasant, that is love. And when it becomes more pleasant, it becomes compassion. Because love means love for one person, but compassion means love for everyone around you. And then in the intellect body or the energy body, if it becomes very pleasant, it means you are blissful. And it becomes very, very pleasant, then you are ecstatic, ecstasy. And similarly, if your surroundings become pleasant, we call it a success. So, peace is nothing but a state of your mind. It is all in the mind. So, the peace is a feeling or an emotion in your mind that you are feeling. Now, this is what we described as a peace. But how do we understand this is the peace. And what is our nature also? The nature of our soul is Sat Chit Anand, as you all know. Sat being the truth about ourselves, that we are the eternal beings, not this body or the mind. We are the spirit, we are that energy. Because even though we perceive ourselves as and know ourselves as body and mind, but we are not that. We are that energy. And that is the truth about ourselves. That is the Satya, the truth. Eternity, eternal truth. And then, because energy is something that cannot be destroyed or created, it just exists. So it is eternity. It is an eternal thing. So that is why it's called eternity. Then Chit is the knowledge. So we are full of knowledge, and not only whatever is stored in our intellect body, and not only that knowledge is available to us, but even we can tap into the universal knowledge by raising our energies. By raising our frequency, we can go. If we are vibrating at a certain frequency, we are able to tap into the knowledge of the universe also. So that is the knowledge. We are full of knowledge, and everything is available to us because we are that energy which is creating everything with the knowledge. And then third is the bliss. So our nature is bliss, peace, happiness, love, joy. All this is our nature. So if our nature is Sat Chit Anand, Anand being bliss, happiness, love, peace, joy. So if that is our nature, then how come that we are not blissful right now? Why is that we are not blissful? So the reason why we are not being blissful is because we have lot of layers of negativity, impressions on our mind. We are feeling it in the mind, and lot of negative, as I said, in our intellect body, lot of negative impressions, lot of negative past experiences and habits and fears and phobias we have built up, all the vices we have created in our mind, all these things are blocking the light of this bliss, this joy, this peace within us. Now, how do we create those negative impressions in our mind? So, what happens? We are spiritual beings. Now, what is happening in our mind? Either we are thinking of the past experiences, or we are worrying about the future. This is what's happening. Our mind is not at the present now moment. Either we are constantly thinking of the past. Now, past is nothing but just to learn from it, to grow with it. So, whatever the past, life is all about experiences, nothing else. Now, from those experiences, either you can learn and grow, or you can be and become wiser. So you can use those past experiences to become wiser, or you can be wounded and stay in the past and keep thinking of the negative thoughts and keep bringing your energy down. So the choice is always in our own hands. So that is what's happening, that we are either living in the past and thinking about the past experiences and bringing our energy down, or we are worrying about the future. And future is nothing but our imagination. It is not the truth. The truth is now, because past is also gone. That is not the truth at the moment. Neither is the future the truth. The truth is right now, the present moment. Now, how we decide to be at this present moment is in our own hands. We can decide whether we want to be blissful or we want to be sorrowful. It's in our hands. The peace or the calmness that we feel, it is in one of our bodies, in our mind. Now, none of these bodies have their own energy. They cannot work without our energy. We are that energy being that is giving light and the energy to these 5 bodies to work. Otherwise, they cannot work. They don't have their own energy. So that means we are the masters. The mind is not our master. But allowing the mind to go into the past and bring that worry or the past thoughts and make us stressful, or going into the future and making us worryful. I mean, we are worried about because of our imagination. Allowing that mind to do that, then we are making the mind our master. Whereas we are the masters of our mind. So we have to understand that. Choice is in our hands. Now, if I say, if the choice is in your hands, would you like to be blissful or would you like to be in sorrow all the time? Would you like to be in stress all the time? Naturally, we would all like to be in bliss, always in peace and full of love and joy. We all want to do that. But why it's not happening is because we are allowing our mind to rule us, rule our thoughts, rule our how we act, react, and everything. Now, what happens is that whenever the mind is in the past, it is constantly bringing it up in the future. We are reliving the same scenario, whatever the bad thing that happened in the past, we are reliving the same scenario right now. It's not the truth right now. Right now, at present, that is not the truth. But because we are thinking of it and bringing it in the present moment, we are reliving the same moment again and again and creating the layers of that impressions in our mind. And these layers of impressions, when you're sitting idle, will come up to bother you. They come up to bother you, to haunt you, and then create stress within you and take away your peace. So if we remove the stress, is the opposite of the peace. So if you remove the stress, peace is natural. That's your nature. But we are creating stress by being in the past or worrying about the future continuously. And when we relive the past or the future worries, we are just creating negative impressions on our mind, on our intellect body. Whatever the thought we continuously think again and again will go and get stored in our intellect body, in our subconscious mind, and will come up to haunt you later on. That is what is happening continuously. But if we understand this aspect and try to start watching your mind, basically, जिसको कहते हैं साक्षी, become a watcher of your mind, become conscious of what is going on in your mind, then we can stop it and control it. Now there are three factors that can contribute to the stress level that we have created within us, and these three factors are: firstly, our own expectations. We expect things to happen in a certain manner and it happens in a different manner, and that creates stress in our body, and then that is definitely going to rob our peace away. So our own expectations rob our peace. Second is our non-acceptance of the things as they are, of the situation as it is. Now, if you can change the situation, go ahead and change it. But if you are not able to change it, then what is the wise thing to do? Accept it and make the best of out of it. Make the best of it, make the best out of the situation, and create it in such a manner that will take away your stress and give you peace. So our non-acceptance of the situation, we keep thinking why this is not happening the way I wanted, or why the person is not responding the way I wanted, that is creating stress. And just simply by acceptance, we can release that stress and create peace within us. So we don't have to allow this kind of a stress to rob our peace. And then third thing is, again, our attachment to the outcome. So if we do some action or some work we are doing, we expect the result to be in a certain manner. We want the result to be in a certain manner. But if the result doesn't come, then again we are upset. Again we are stressed. So this attachment is creating that stress. Our attachment of any kind, whether it's to the work, to the job, to the children, to the things, to anything that is material, attachment will only lead to stress. It will only lead to pain. So the attachment should be, if you want to be attached, attachment should be to the higher energy, to the God's energy, and that will only raise your vibrations. Whereas attachment to any of the material aspects will only lower your vibrations. So these are the three factors that create stress and rob your peace of mind. But we can create the peace. Now, how do we eradicate that stress? So let's see that. How do we create that peace back in our life? The first thing is that first you start evaluating all the thoughts that are coming in your mind. Evaluate them. Firstly, we can evaluate, first see whether it's a thought of a past or is it of the future. So if it is of the past, is it relevant? Whatever you need to learn from that past experience, you should learn. Because then if you don't learn from anything from the past experiences, you will be repeating the same mistake again and again. So you do want to, past is a very, very valuable experiences that teaches you a lot, and that is how you grow as a human being. So, and that is how you become wiser also. That is the only way of wisdom, basically. You learn from your experiences and you grow wiser. But if you stay in a wounded condition and keep thinking of the past in a negative manner and keep hurting yourself, then yourself are robbing your own peace and joy within you. Now, you being the master, you should be in control, not the mind. So firstly, you evaluate on the basis of the past or whether is it of the future. Future is also just your imagination. It may or may never happen, but you are already hurting yourself thinking of something negative that might never happen. So first, bring your mind to the present. Then evaluate each and every thought that comes up on the basis of three bases. Firstly, the basis of truth. First, the thought that is coming up, evaluate it on the basis of the truth. Is it really true what I'm thinking? Is it the truth, or is it just my imagination again? I'm thinking storm might come and may wreck my house, or a tornado might come and wreck my house. Or is it really true, or is it just my imagination? Or another thought is, maybe my sister doesn't like me, or my friend doesn't like me, or she's talking bad things about me. All these negative thoughts that come relating to the other person, concerning other person, or concerning any material aspect also. Something might happen to my car or something. Whatever the thoughts that are coming up, evaluate on the basis of the truth. Is it just my imagination, or is it really the reality that is happening? If it's not the reality, then that is not the truth. That is not the basis to keep that thought in your mind. It is a garbage thought. Similarly, second point of evaluation is usefulness. Now, having such a thought, is it of any useful to you? If you're thinking that my sister doesn't like me, or the tornado might hit my house, or my car may break down, is it a useful thought in any way? Or is it just causing stress in your mind? So you have to evaluate every thought on the basis of the usefulness. And the third is it a kind thought? Is it bringing you happiness, peace, or is it creating stress? Is it kind to you and to the other person that you're thinking? If you're thinking your sister doesn't like you, is it kind to her? Why wouldn't she like you? Or why are you thinking negative about her? She's not that kind of a person. She loves you. So if it is not a kind thought, neither kind to you or to the other person, then that is a garbage thought again. So what do we do with the garbage? In our house also, if there is a garbage, what do? We pick it up and throw it out of our house. Similarly, any garbage thoughts that are coming up again and again, please pick them up. Imagine that you are picking it up, sweeping it up on a dustpan and throwing it out into the universe. You don't want to keep garbage. It can only create diseases. So similarly, in the mind, if there is a garbage thoughts creating stress, that will only create mental stress, distress, and disease in your body. Disease is nothing but dis-ease of the vibrational frequency. It is disturbing your vibrations. Everything has its own vibration. Every organ, all of our 5 bodies are vibrating at a frequency, and their vibrations keep going up and down on the basis of what we are thinking, what we are acting, what we are talking. So everything is on our own hands. We control what we think, what we talk, what we see, what we are creating. But if we let our bodies take control of us, then that is how we are creating stress within us. And stress means that's the opposite of peace. That means you're robbing the peace of your own mind. Pleasantness in your mind is gone, and distress has been filled up in your own mind. But we, being the master, should be in control, and that is the only way to create peace within yourself. So peace is nothing but just a state of mind which is in our own hands, how we want to create and how we want to deal with it. And we always have to remember that we are the energy which is making all these bodies work, all these organs work. Without us, nothing works. So it's not that if you don't want it, it will go on creating stress. It is going on creating stress because you are allowing it to happen. You can, as I said, control it, evaluate the thought, throw it out, treat it as a garbage, and cleanse yourself continuously. And this cleansing is called being mindfulness. This continuous cleansing, continuous observance of your mind is called mindfulness. And meditation is nothing, also a way of cleansing. So what happens in the meditation? Meditation is your mind's attention. Wherever we are putting our mind attention, we are meditating on it. So if we are putting our mind attention on something negative, then we are meditating on a negative aspect. And if we are meditating on something positive, then thinking of something positive, then we are meditating on something positive. That means we raise or we lower our energy with negative thoughts, and we raise our energy by meditating on a positive thoughts. So meditation is when we are observing our mind and controlling it. If it has to be channelized, it should be channelized into something positive, creating like a mantra, doing some japa, thinking anything positive. All the negative thoughts should be replaced continuously by something positive. It could be anything, as I said, chanting, it could be thinking of God, prayers, even planning for some event, something positive that you like to do. So that will replace the negative thought instantly. So this is the meditation. And meditation, what meditation does is raises our energy, and lot of cleansing happens. Because in meditation, when we raise our energy, we are all the negative thoughts or negativity is always vibrating at a lower frequency, and when we raise our vibrations, that things that are at a lower frequency, they automatically fall off, get cleansed out of our mind. So constant meditation, continuous meditation will cleanse your mind, and those thoughts that were haunting you will stop coming up because they will be cleansed out of your mind through meditation. So meditation is a way of cleansing and healing and raising your vibrations, and so is being mindfulness and watching your mind, being Sakshi. So that is about the peace. Anybody has any questions?